The Golden State Warriors defense in the last 2 years has been average at best and like jello at worst. This season, they're not only a bottom 10 defense for the first time since 2011 and 2012 season, not including the 2019-2020 tanking season, but have also been without their best defensive anchor for much of it. And after their bad loss to the Grizzlies in January, Draymond had this to say about the state of the Warriors defense.
You just gotta have pride in yourself as a man, but I'm not gonna let my guy score. And our closeouts was too soft, our rotations were too slow, so it's just no pride. And until every guy take pride in themselves and want to stop the guy in front of them, we'll suck. We can't guard nobody. So until we guard, we'll lose.
For years, the Warriors' defense has been based upon principles like preventing easy middle dribble penetration, strong positional defenders like Wiggins, and an underlying trust, especially in rotations. But its foundation has always been Draymond Green. He's primarily known across the league as an enforcer who makes many questionable, sometimes flagrant defensive plays, but to the Warriors, he unlocks everything as an amazing positional defender for his size, excellent in closeouts, always dependable in rotations, and an absolute annoyance as an on-ball defender. In the slow ramp-up since Draymond's return, the Warriors' defense has looked much more cohesive when he's on the floor. While defense is always reliant on the team, I think the hope is that Draymond's generational defensive talents can still save this struggling team. So let's review. One of the lesser-known keys to unlocking the Warriors dynasty, specifically their death lineup, was the ability of Draymond Green to defend above his size. Let's see how he makes it tough for reigning MVP Joel Embiid, who's 7 foot 280 to generate easy offense. So I think the first thing to notice is how small this lineup on the floor is. We have Jonathan Kuminga, Pod, Steph, Wiggins, and Draymond as the small ball 5. So I think against a matchup nightmare like Joel Embiid is for many others in the league, a lineup this small might get torched if the 5 wasn't Draymond Green. So it looks like Embiid wants this matchup since he appears to be telling Patrick Beverley to clear weak side before he sizes up Draymond Green. So first he's going to put a few dribble moves on Draymond before trying to drive into the paint, but Draymond has pretty good lateral quickness and strength for his size. So watch him stay with Embiid and only budge a step when Embiid tries to make this contact with this push. So Pods is going to run here and set this temporary double before moving back out to Beverley because of this nice fake from Joel Embiid. But as Embiid turns around for this fadeaway, watch this contest from Draymond Green. This is where Draymond's unique physical build can come into play. Draymond is only 6'6", with a 7'1" wingspan, which allows him to make really tough contests on jumpers like these, even when it's a 7-footer like Joel Embiid. And he does this while still maintaining the mobility of a forward.
While we're on the subject of Draymond Green defending MVP level centers, I want to turn back the clock all the way until 2022 to take a brief look at how Draymond's unique build and skill set help him to defend an MVP level player like Nikola Jokic. Let's begin with Draymond on Jokic in isolation. Remember, these possessions are critical, with the Warriors up 2-0 on the Denver Nuggets, and Draymond essentially singled up, guarding the MVP of the league in Nikola Jokic. As we play the clip here, we see that one of Draymond Green's physical upsides, besides his length, is just his stout ability to defend bigs in post-up situation. He's just incredibly difficult to move. Watch in this clip as Draymond Green tries to stop Jokic and is successful in stopping Jokic as he does 3 power dribbles, and Draymond barely budges, and he remains firm and slides with Jokic, which eventually leads to a really tough hook shot that Jokic misses. Before we move on, just take a look at the lineup the Warriors are running right now. Steph, Clay, Wiggins, Iguodala, and Draymond Green. This is a pretty small lineup to be trotting out against a 7-footer like Nikola Jokic, and with Aaron Gordon at the 4, but it's possible because Draymond Green is able to defend MVP level bigs that are well above his size, which the Warriors can then take advantage of on the offensive end. In this next clip, there's now just 40 seconds left in this crucial game. Denver needs to win this game or they go into that 0-3 hole, which no NBA team has come back from in the playoffs. The Nuggets are going to set up this sideline out of bounds play with JaMychal Green as the invinder, who gives it to Jokic, who once again has Draymond Green on him, sort of in an isolation position. It seems like the Nuggets thought that maybe this earlier play that we showed was a fluke, and that Jokic should have a good matchup versus Draymond Green in isolation. And you would think that. After all, Jokic is the MVP of the league. As you play this clip a little bit longer, you see JaMychal Green makes a 45-degree cut to help clear out the side so that Jokic is essentially one-on-one with Draymond Green. But everything that we talked about in this last clip happens in this clip. Jokic continues to take a couple power dribbles, and Draymond Green realizes this, and so he's able to basically put up a lot of resistance, being a stout defender, and ends up getting the steal. Remember what Jeff was showing you earlier, how Draymond's wingspan allows him to contest shots? Well, it also allows him to kind of reach around Nikola Jokic in this specific clip, and essentially, by doing this at the right time, he's able to make the steal and essentially seal the game with the Warriors up 5 points and the ball. So far, we've covered how Draymond Green uses his strength and wingspan to defend well above his size. But he's also a great and timely rotator. Plays like this one are where his physical talents and defensive IQ really come together for the big man. The Nuggets are going to run a high pick and roll in this specific play, with Jokic essentially trying to screen Steph Curry and Kuminga guarding Nikola Jokic in this play. Pay attention to the dunker spot, where Draymond Green is going to be guarding Aaron Gordon. Monte running down in the pick and roll in this specific clip. Draymond looks early to help, but he's actually perfectly placed himself to contest what was probably a turnaround hook shot from Nikola Jokic. And then once again, he has that huge wingspan and length to deflect the pass going to Aaron Gordon, who's wide open in the dunker spot since Jordan Poole made the decision to go ahead and guard Will Barton over kind of by the wing position. This is not only perfectly timed help, but it is also enabled purely because of Draymond's unique size and ability. Now back to the present.
Continuing on the subject of Draymond's excellence in rotation, let's take a look at this play against the Nets. Once again, the Warriors are pretty small right here. We have Moses Moody, Draymond Green, Podziemski, Curry, and Santos. These are all smaller guys, and Draymond acts as the small ball 5 here. He's defending a much taller Nick Claxton. So the Nets are going to begin with what look to be staggered screens for Cam Thomas. Royce O'Neal is going to set this screen first, and then Nick Claxton is going to come set this screen on Santos. So Royce O'Neal is actually going to slip out here and be pretty open, but nonetheless, Nick Claxton sets a pretty good screen for Santos, which actually frees up Dinwiddie. Dinwiddie can run to the wing right here and get a wide open 3. And you'll notice that Santos is going to be late, but Dinwiddie decides to drive this. And Draymond already notices that Gui Santos is kind of on the back foot. Spencer Dinwiddie is maybe about even with him right now, but has a lot more speed since he got that off the catch, and is inevitably going to probably beat Santos to the rim if he doesn't get any help. But watch Draymond rotate. So it looks like he's actually going to almost beat Dinwiddie to the spot, and then use his long wingspan to contest this floater at the very top of the shot and ultimately alter. So I think what this demonstrates is that Draymond can often act as a foundational piece to pretty decent defensive coverage from the Warriors, from Santos, from Moses Moody, who provides a nice little dig. All of this is bolstered by the fact that you can depend on Draymond Green to make that rotation and try and alter the wide open lane that Dinwiddie seems to have. Here he is again, this time showcasing his ability to help and protect the rim. So this time the Lakers are in transition, and Anthony Davis is going to come set this sort of drag screen for D'Angelo Russell, depending on if you would call this defense set or not. Now, the reason that I say they aren't set is that Klay, as you can tell, isn't paying attention to LeBron James right now, and LeBron James is able to take this pass off of the screen, and he's going to immediately drive this gap. Now, in a lot of situations, LeBron is too fast and too strong for anyone to end up altering or preventing this shot. He has a pretty decent lane here. But first, I want to give credit to either Kuminga or Klay here for whoever's dig makes LeBron pick up the ball. Because he picks up the ball just a step below the free throw line, it gives Draymond just enough time to rotate and ultimately actually block this shot from LeBron. Now, because of that block, because of that great rotation, you'll notice that the Warriors are able to immediately get in transition and Kuminga can score. That's something that is ultimately enabled by Draymond Green. When you can get stops in transition, when you can get stops in semi-transition, or when you can get blocks, the ball doesn't go out of bounds, and you have your athletes like Kuminga who can run the floor. Next, we're going to look at another Draymond block, this time on a Kings ball screen. So Draymond has Sabonis and GP2 has Monk, but they're going to switch. Draymond's going to take Malik Monk after the screen. Notice that right here, he's got nearly flat feet, but he manages to stay not only step by step with Malik Monk, but also perfectly time this jump to ultimately swat this shot into the stands. So I want to end this review by covering another one of Draymond's excellent defensive skills, which is his ability to consistently make great closeouts against spaced out offenses to three-point shooters. So the Lakers have some interesting spacing here because they're running a lineup with Jared Vanderbilt and Anthony Davis, who are both below average three-point shooters. And because of that, Draymond's not going to be too concerned here with Anthony Davis, who is all the way in this weak side corner, because you can tell that, Draymond's sitting here by the block. He doesn't really care right now that Anthony Davis is essentially a skip pass or two away from a three-point shot. So what's going to happen is LeBron James is going to make this skip pass to Austin Reeves. And before this ball, or just as this ball is leaving Austin Reeves' hands, you can already see Draymond on his way to Anthony Davis in this corner. But watch him cover all of this space in a split second before utilizing, you guessed it, his long wingspan to block Anthony Davis, of all players, right as the shot leaves his hands. So he's going to do it again here. This time, Moody and Saric look like they're running a catch-hedge coverage on this ball screen. As Saric is near the level of the screen, maybe he's a step behind. And Moody is also going to help crowd Paul George on this ball screen and kind of force him to make this pass, or at least make it difficult, but make him make this pass to Zubac. Now, when you run a catch-hedge coverage on a ball screen, a lot is going to rely on your low man in the weak side to prevent an easy roll to the basket. You can imagine that if Draymond was not in the middle of the paint and was instead in the block or was closer to Terrence Mann, that Zubac would have a relatively easy, wide open path to the basket. But the issue here is that, and the issue with the catch hedge coverage is that whenever your low man is forced to tag the roller, he has to help off of his man. Draymond has to help off of Terrence Mann, who is basically going to be wide open, right? There's no one in this area that can cover him. Steph has to think about James Harden. Moody and Saric are involved still at the back end of their ball screen coverage, and Klay is going to have to cover Kawhi Leonard in this corner. So Draymond Green cannot possibly both cover this roller and this wide open three-point shooter, right? But watch Draymond Green. So he's going to start off at the top of the restricted area, and he's going to manage to run all the way out to actually block Terrence Mann's open three. And this is the power of Draymond Green. He's able to take possessions like this where the Clippers have exploited the Warriors' ball screen coverage and should have an open three and completely nullify it. So the Warriors aren't in a great spot this season. Their defense is nearly the worst it's ever been during the Dynasty era. They can often look uncommitted, undersized, and not nearly long enough to stop the other high-octane offenses across the league. However, healthy Draymond Green can dramatically change this. It's not only that he has great defensive instincts, timely rotations, and help defense, and has the pure strength and wingspan to defend much larger players, but also that these talents allow him to act as an anchor to the Warriors' defense. When Steph or Kuminga or anyone can trust that Draymond will provide the help or make the closeout, it allows for them to play better individual defense, as Draymond himself recognizes the Warriors desperately need. If Draymond Green can avoid the issues that caused his suspension, I think there's a good chance his generational defensive talents can help return the Warriors' defense back to normal. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe for more film reviews just like this, including a review of Draymond's playmaking talents.